In this video, you'll learn how to write the Hebrew letters in hand script. This is not the font, the square script that you'll see in books and newspapers or typed out. This is the script that handwritten Hebrew will appear in modern Israel. On the screen are all of the Hebrew letters. Aleph in hand script is written like this. It's the only letter that's two separate lines. However, there are some people that will even combine these two to look more like that. Either way is acceptable. The letter bet is very similar looking to the square script bet. Gimel is rather different. You'll see some people write it kind of like this. I personally give a little bit more of an angle like that. And Dalet is kind of like a number 2. Let me show you. Except that last little line is vertical. There are a couple of options for the letter Hey. I guess a textbook would tell you to write it with two curved lines like this. But there are plenty of people that write it, myself included, kind of like that. Vav is a perfectly vertical line that does not go below the bottom line of the text. And Zayin is kind of like a backwards gimel. Again, this is probably the correct way, but when I write it and when a lot of people write it quickly, it ends up getting an angle on top like that. For Chet, there are a couple of options too. Maybe this is the correct way to write a Chet, but you will see some people write it a lot more like this. My Chet I write out like that. Tet is a really fun one because it's kind of a bring it around and let it fly up in the air, something like that. The more you let it fly, the more fun it is. Now I'm just getting carried away. Okay, letter Tet. Yod is also a vertical line that fills up only half of the height of the text. You don't want to make it too long, or else people will think it's a Vav. Kaf is very similar to the square script Kaf. It's just a kind of a backwards C looking letter. And the Kaf Sofit, you'll see mostly it's written like this. Lamed is another fun one like Tet because it's going to fly up in the air. It's written like this. Mem looks like it looks like the capital letter N, but it's actually a mem. This is closer to the original mem that was like a squiggly line of water. And mem sofit is going to be a circle with a tail. It's going to look like a backwards cursive A. Nun is going to go straight down, then curve to the left. And Nun Sofit is the other vertical line. It's going to be longer than a Vav. It'll continue down past the bottom of the bottom line of the text. Samech is more or less a perfect circle. Ayin will drop down and go back up like that. Pei almost looks upside down compared to the square script. Let me fix that. And the Pei Sophite is a little bit tricky. Tzadi is kind of like the number 3. It's going to stand a little bit taller than the other letters. And Tzadi Sophite is going to be an awkward one, kind of like final Pei. The only difference is that the squiggle goes up instead of going down. Kof looks the same. Kuf. Resh looks the same. Some people will round this a lot more. Shin and Sin typically are not differentiated in handwritten Hebrew. Both of them will have the same symbol. Looks almost like a cursive letter E or something. If you do need to differentiate it, then the Shin dot will go over here, and the Sin dot would go over here. But again, usually these dots are left out. Handwritten Hebrew is typically without any nikud, without any vowels or any vowel symbols. Now Tav, there are a couple of options for Tav. I think the textbook way to do it is to write it something like this. But you'll see plenty of people write it much more quickly, like that. And this will have kind of an extra little toe hanging out here for Tav. But I usually stick with that one right there that looks like the square script Tav. Again, there won't be any nikud unless you absolutely need it. There won't be any dots in Begad Kefat letters. And you'll also notice that modern Hebrew will include a lot more vowel letters, Mater Leccionis letters like Yod and Vav, sometimes even Aleph, to represent vowel sounds. Hope this helped. Hope you can get some practice in and start writing in Hebrew hand script.